Ever since Jang Bu discovered he had a strange ability to perceive certain moments in slow motion, his life was never quite the same. It made him feel like an outsider growing up, until one day he landed a job as a new recruit at a CCTV monitoring center. At the facility, while most of the staff focused on their individual screens, Miss Shim was busy chatting with a coworker. In the middle of their conversation, something unusual caught her eye on her monitor. A man on a motorcycle who bore a striking resemblance to a wanted thief they'd been trying to track down. This particular criminal was known to work with an accomplice, and just as expected, another man soon appeared beside the rider. Not long after, the pair carried out a quick bag-snatching incident right on the street. Miss Shim quickly reported what she saw to their team leader, who immediately notified officers in the area about the suspects. The team kept watch through the surveillance cameras, but soon the two culprits vanished from view. That's when Jang Bu's unique ability proved invaluable. Using his slow-motion perception, he managed to catch a glimpse of the two men slipping away in a spot the others had missed. Thanks to his sharp observation, the suspects were quickly located and apprehended. While the rest of the team celebrated the successful capture, Jang Bu quietly kept to himself, drawing curious looks from Byung-soo and their team leader, both puzzled by his odd but effective instincts. The story also offers a glimpse into Jang Bu's past, recalling a childhood memory from an elementary school sports festival. During a relay race, young Jang Bu sprinted eagerly toward Bong Soo-mi, the girl he admired, as he prepared to hand her the baton. But unexpectedly, he lost his balance just before reaching her. Concerned, the event organizers rushed him to see a doctor to ensure everything was all right. After a series of medical tests, it was revealed that Jang Bu had a rare condition known as dynamic visual acuity, a unique ability that allowed him to perceive fast-moving objects as though they were moving in slow motion. This unusual gift made it easy for him to catch things thrown at high speed. However, it came with a drawback. The condition often left him dizzy, causing him to lose balance while running and making it impossible for him to join in sports activities like other kids. Concerned about his well-being, Dr. Seok, his ophthalmologist, advised Jang Bu to wear sunglasses at all times while they monitored his condition. Not long after, life took another turn when his father had to leave for a distant place, hoping to earn enough money to pay for Jang Bu's treatment. In time, Jang Bu discovered an unexpected silver lining in his situation. His sharp, detailed vision inspired a love for drawing. The world's little details that others missed became the heart of his artwork. Yet, despite this, life wasn't easy. Other kids teased him constantly about his sunglasses, calling him names and claiming he had alien eyes. The only person who stood by him was Bong Soo-mi. The two spent time together, and Jang Bu found joy in making her smile with his drawings. She became his creative muse. Sadly, Soo-mi's kindness made her a target too. To avoid the teasing, she eventually distanced herself, leaving Jang Bu alone once again. Trying to worsen his eyesight on purpose, Jang Bu began watching television for hours on end. But rather than damaging his vision, he grew captivated by dramas with charismatic leading characters, learning how to speak and act from them. Unfortunately, without anyone around, he had no one to share these new skills with. In a typical year, he only stepped outside twice, both times for checkups with Dr. Seok. He had no friends to visit, no one to play with, and life grew even heavier when a tragic accident at his father's workplace left him without his last family member. Dr. Seok, the only familiar adult in his life, never gave up on encouraging Jang Bu to step outside and engage with the world again. Eventually, Jang Bu agreed to try. He took a job at a CCTV monitoring center, where his days were spent watching scenes of everyday life unfold on dozens of screens. To him, it felt like witnessing unscripted dramas, with each passerby starring as the lead in their own personal story. Among the many faces he observed, a few left a lasting impression. A young boy pushing a cart uphill alone, and a man practicing baseball by himself every day. Watching their quiet routines sparked a wish in Jang Bu to reach out to them, though fear held him back. What if they didn't like him? One evening, Byung-soo and the team leader sat on a bench nearby. In a moment of warmth, Byung-soo proudly declared himself a friend of Jang Bu's, despite his odd habits, and promised to look after him while they worked together. Curious about this quiet young man, Byung-soo made an effort to get to know Jang Bu, chatting with him even when his words were met with silence. Over time, Byung-soo noticed something peculiar. Jiang Bu had developed a habit of counting the number of steps people took between locations, carefully noting it down on sketches of streets and alleys he'd drawn. One day, breaking the usual quiet between them, Jiang Bu finally spoke up. He looked at Byung-soo and asked where he usually went. It was a simple question, but for Jiang Bu, it was the beginning of a new connection. Sitting beside him, Byung-soo silently flips through some sketches before suddenly asking Jiang Bu about a girlfriend, a question that stirs a distant memory within him. As images shift on the monitors, Jiang Bu catches sight of a young woman hurrying out of her house. Something about her makes him rise from his seat. That girl is Bong Soo-mi, his childhood friend and first love. Drawn by old feelings, Jiang Bu later rides his bike toward her neighborhood, keeping a careful distance as he watches her from afar. Through overheard conversations, Jiang Bu learns that Soo-mi is struggling with financial troubles and dealing with a persistent debt collector. From then on, his attention turns to her completely. He follows her movements through the cameras, quietly watching wherever she goes. The next morning, longing to feel a connection to her world, Jiang Bu visits the places Soo-mi has recently passed by, taking joy in seeing what she's seen. Along the way, he encounters Baek-gu, the young boy who's always pushing a cart, and Sang-man, a man who often plays baseball alone. Though he wishes to greet them, Jiang Bu's awkwardness makes it hard to express himself, leading to misunderstandings. That evening, a worn-out Soo-mi stumbles upon a couch placed near a coffee shop. Not knowing it was left there by Jiang Bu, she sits down, enjoying a rare moment of rest as she gazes at the shop. The following day, Soo-mi rushes to an audition after finishing her part-time job, but with her mature appearance and limited experience, she isn't chosen. Back at the monitoring center, Jiang Bu convinces Byung-soo to join him in delivering an umbrella to Soo-mi as rain pours down. Dressed in raincoats, they search for her, but when Jiang Bu tries to hand her the umbrella, his awkward behavior unsettles her, and she walks away, leaving his plan in ruins. Afterward, the two men visit Dr. Seok for advice. The doctor suggests a gentler approach, perhaps flowers. That evening, Jiang Bu's mother gives him a haircut, as if preparing him for something important. The next day, Soo-mi learns her audition has been canceled. Desperate, she begins singing in the street. Passers-by stop to listen, including Jiang Bu, who's captivated by her voice. But when no word comes from the director, she stops and turns away in disappointment. In that moment, a bus comes dangerously close to her. Jiang Bu, acting fast, pulls her aside. He hands her flowers, softly telling her it feels like spring because she's there. For a brief moment, she smiles. Then, her expression hardens as she scolds him once more. Before leaving, she corrects him, revealing her full name is Oh Soo-mi, not Bong Soo-mi. The next morning, Jiang Bu's mother wakes him for work, but he refuses, saying it only strains his eyes to sit in front of screens all day. He heads out for a walk and runs into Soo-mi again. She asks him to carry her bags to her home, and before going inside, she questions him about the name Bong Soo-mi. Jiang Bu simply responds that he likes her. Returning to work, Jiang Bu informs Byung-soo that he plans to quit his job. But when he catches sight of Soo-mi smiling on one of the monitors, his resolve weakens, and he feels inspired to start drawing once more. That evening, Soo-mi celebrates her successful audition at a local eatery. Spotting Jiang Bu outside, she invites him in. He gives her a box of ramen and stays to help her rehearse her lines. When Soo-mi asks to see one of his talents, Jiang Bu impresses the room by catching spoon after spoon she tosses at him, reaching an incredible count of 438. As the days go by, Jiang Bu continues quietly following Soo-mi's routines, visiting the places she frequents. He realizes that many narrow alleys aren't visible on the cameras, which worries him. He begins sketching those blind spots and counting the steps it takes to pass through them. Byung-soo grows increasingly curious about Jiang Bu's behavior, but can't figure out what's going through his friend's mind. One evening, Soo-mi runs into Jiang Bu on her way home. As they walk together, she learns that he works at the CCTV monitoring center, spending his days quietly watching people's daily lives unfold. She brings up the mysterious person who left a couch near the coffee shop, unaware it was him. Jiang Bu feels a flicker of happiness, believing she might finally notice him, but it quickly fades when Soo-mi admits she's fond of someone else, a well-dressed man who works at the coffee shop. She gushes about the idea of riding in his car, hoping to visit new places. The next day, hurt and disheartened, Jiang Bu resolves to let go of his feelings for Soo-mi. But when he sees her waving at a nearby CCTV, his heart softens again. Determined to do something meaningful, Jang-bu decides to plan a trip for her. He starts asking everyone he knows, Byung-soo, the team leader, his mother, and Dr. Seok, if they happen to own a car. Meanwhile, Sumi finally quits her job at the mini-mart, strolling happily down the street. Her joy is short-lived when the debt collector appears again, cornering her with harsh words. Before things escalate, Jang-bu and Byung-soo arrive, standing up for her and helping her get away. From that day forward, the bond between Jang-bu and Sumi begins to grow. Jang-bu and Sumi gradually grow closer, spending more time together. One day, Sumi shares her dream of visiting the ocean. Jang-bu, though eager to make it happen, feels discouraged as he doesn't know anyone with a car. That's when he remembers Sang-man, a friend who drives a bus. The next day, Jang-bu meets Sang-man and begins helping him with bus chores, even playing catch in the evening to win his favor. Despite his efforts, Sang-man initially turns down the idea. Undeterred, Jang-bu quietly puts a plan in motion. To his surprise, Sang-man has a change of heart and agrees to help. Together with Byung-soo, they casually pick up Sumi at a bus stop. She dozes off on the ride, unaware the bus is heading somewhere unexpected. When she awakens to find herself on an unfamiliar road, she discovers the two friends on board and learns of their impromptu trip to the ocean. Byung-soo reassures her that he's already asked Miss Shim to cover her shift. However, before they can reach their destination, the group is stopped by local authorities. It turns out the bus isn't allowed to leave its designated district. After a lively exchange, they're forced to turn back. Baek-gu grumbles about the failed adventure, while Jang-bu lends him a hand pushing his father's wheelchair uphill, choosing to spend a little time with him. Later, while monitoring CCTV cameras, Jang-bu hears a report about a missing person case. As he watches Sumi on the screen, she suddenly vanishes from view. Alarmed, he dashes out to find her. Though he stumbles and struggles along the way, his concern for her pushes him on, only to discover she was playing a harmless prank. Seeing his worry, Sumi gently teases him, then asks if his feelings for her would remain even if she wasn't the same person he once knew. When Jang-bu admits his feelings, she smiles, removes his sunglasses, wraps a scarf around his neck, and shares a tender kiss. Later that evening, after dropping Sumi home, she invites the two friends in for tea. Hoping for a moment alone, Jang-bu convinces Byung-soo to head off. But when Sumi reaches her house, she's confronted by an unwelcome visitor, a wounded collector with several others searching her home. Meanwhile, Jang-bu struggles up the stairs, his vision fading rapidly. Though Sumi attempts to resist, she's overwhelmed by the intruders, and Jang-bu, limited by his condition, is unable to intervene. Once the men leave, the two quietly sit on a bench. Sumi apologizes for hiding the truth about her past and leaving him before, admitting she'd kept his old drawings. Jang-bu says nothing and leaves. The next day, during a medical visit, Dr. Seok warns Jang-bu against overexerting himself, cautioning him to rest his eyes. At the same time, Sumi visits an ATM to transfer money, having sold her house to settle her debts. She resigns from her part-time job and collects her belongings. Back at the CCV center, Miss Shim notices a suspicious white car. Upon confirming its connection to the missing person case, she quickly alerts the team. They track the vehicle, but soon lose sight of it. Jang-bu, growing anxious about Sumi's safety, leaves his post despite orders, taking a bike to search for her. Byung-soo, worried for his friend, calls Sang-man for assistance. Elsewhere, Sumi strolls down a street with her eyes closed in quiet reflection, only to be approached by a stranger when she opens them. Jang-bu, still searching, accidentally strikes a car mirror and falls. Byung-soo, monitoring him through CCTV, eventually abandons his station to help, telling the team leader that Jang-bu's worsening eyesight leaves him vulnerable. At that moment, Sumi is being quietly forced along by the stranger, who keeps her from calling for help. Despite his fading sight, Jang-bu finally locates them. Sumi breaks free just in time to pull Jang-bu out of harm's way as a truck passes by. Once they're safe, police officers arrive to assist Sumi, while Byung-soo rushes to support Jang-bu and help him return to the center. Later, Jang-bu's mother arrives, and the two walk home together. He reassures her that he's been preparing for this day, memorizing every alley and street so he can move about on his own when his vision is completely gone. Seasons shift, and Sumi quietly moves away while Jang-bu isolates himself at home. They lose touch. But one day, Sumi appears on the CCTV screen waving at the camera. She retraces old steps, sitting once again at the familiar couch in front of the coffee shop. Inside, she spots Jiang Bu, though now completely blind. She follows him silently through the streets until they arrive at an art gallery, where she discovers a touching surprise. Every painting in the exhibit is of her. Despite losing his sight, Jiang Bu had painted her entirely from memory. One day, as Jiang Bu takes a walk, he suddenly stops, sensing her presence. He turns and asks with a knowing smile where she'd like to go next. Sumi is stunned to realize he's aware she's been following him. Jiang Bu tells her he can recognize her because of the scent of flowers she always carries, which reminds him of spring. He reaches out a hand, and without hesitation, Sumi runs to him, wrapping him in a tight embrace. As for the stranger from that unsettling night, his fate was sealed when Sangman used his bus to block the car's path, while Baekgu helped hold him in place. When the man made a threatening move, Baekgu called his father, whose mere presence was enough to make the intruder surrender. The authorities arrived soon after to take over.